me tell y'all a long ass story. I've been locked up a few times, right? And we sitting in the holding tank, we waiting to see the judge, and we're sitting in there doing the same old, telling each other about how many women we got out there, and when we was out there, we was just balling, making too much money to count, lying. Same old, telling each other war stories about gang life, to pass the time away. That's what we do. We just sit up and lie. So we in there one day. Some people standing up, some sitting down, some laying down. I was on the floor, dozing off here and there. And these dudes were sitting on the bench, maybe 7 of them right there telling each other stories. Then something happened. I'll tell you what that was in a second, but when it happened, we all paused for a second. Everybody in the tank stopped for a second. Then we went back to whatever we was doing. So the dudes that were sitting there on the bench talking, right? They're sitting there talking, right? And maybe about 4 minutes after that thing happened that made us pause, one of the dudes just stopped. The dudes that were sitting there talking, one of them just stopped right in the middle of the sentence, and he leaned forward looking on the other end of the bench, and he asked the dude that was on that other end, he said, "Where you from?" What neighborhood the dude gangbang at. He asked him, "Where you from?" So dude on the other end of the bench answered him, but that was the wrong answer. Because dude got up, big old dude too, went over and grabbed the dude by his shirt and just walked him to the door. It looked like, how you see dudes modeling them suits, like he had they had a jacket draped over their shoulder like that with like 2 fingers holding it like that. That's what that little dude looked like in the other dude's hands, because he was only about 140 pounds, whereas the other dude was he was 6 foot, well over 200 pounds. He just grabbed him by his shirt and walked him to the door and bammed on the door. Boom, 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 boom. And the door opened immediately. Now, the angle where I was laying at, I saw, I think 5 deputies. I couldn't see the one that opened the door or anybody else, but it was likely a bunch more deputies standing out there that I couldn't see. And bruh just tossed the dude out there as soon as the door opened. And his exact words was, I ain't forgot them words. His exact words was, "Get his ass out of here before we kill this motherfucker." Now, I told you something happened and we paused, remember? Well, what happened was, deputies put an essay in the tank with us. And everybody and their mama know, especially the deputies, know that you're not supposed to put no essay in a tank full of black people. And vice versa. You're not supposed to put a black person in the tank full of essays because they could die in there. But if you're essaying from a black gang, you safe with us, and vice versa. Black dude in the essay tank, if he from a Mexican gang, he's safe with them. That's why bruh asked the essay where he was from first, instead of just reacting to him being Mexican in there with us. Now, I've been in more than a few holding tanks, right? And I've seen inmates knock on the door, but never have I seen a door open that fast like it did that day. Or in other words, the sheriffs put that dude in there on purpose. That's why they were already standing there, because they knew what could have happened to that dude. And another thing, I seen this same dude about 8-9 years later in the McDonald's, and I asked about that day. And he told me that what happened was, he spit on one of them during transport. So I guess they figured that they'd get us to beat him up instead of doing it themselves. But dude didn't do nothing to the essay. He didn't sock him up, slap him, kick him, nothing. He just grabbed him by the shirt and pulled him to the door and threw him out as soon as the door opened. And I tell y'all that to say, or to ask, are we out here smarter than the people in jail? I'm asking because of how territorial we are. Even in a little holding tank, but out here where we're still fighting each other over space, even with all this room out here. With all this room out here, we're still pushing and shoving each other out of the way. Meanwhile, the deputies, or the ones we call the 1%, get to keep what they have. Are we smarter than inmates who fight over a jail cell? I don't see that we are, because we talk about these deputies, or, the one, some of us call them the elite. We talk about politicians and others and how they got all this stuff, but we still struggle against each other. I saw this one dude, I forget his name. I think he owned 500,000 acres of land, not growing nothing on it or nothing. But I've heard many of the common folks agree that the world is overpopulated. But how could someone agree that it's too many of us while claiming to know that a 1% owns space big enough to fit everybody on? But I look at the power struggles among all the groups that's going on worldwide. You know, I'm sure some of y'all can see the various renaissances that's everywhere. Nothing new about that, but these days it looks too contrived and orchestrated, and it looks like everybody acting out at once. It seems like it looks like a script that somebody wrote, like them sheriffs that put that dude in the tank with us while they stand back. But competition is natural, though. But as I've said before, what's been natural to us is the thing that's used against us. Now, like I said last time, I tried to use this example. I can't find the exact example I'm looking for, but...
And what do you want to do with a knife, Norm? I wouldn't actually got a knife. You did earlier. Well... Yeah, work on...
Live one. See him do that.
Competition is natural. Like those deer competing for territory, food, and females or whatever, but with hunters watching them. Now, the example I would like to use is of deer locked together. One of them was standing up alive, and the other one was laying there dead, while a mountain lion was eating it. This thing standing there, still locked, and couldn't do nothing but just watch the other one get ate, likely thinking, I'm next. And I wanted the mountain lion one because you could literally see this deer's body trembling with fear. The muscles in his neck, his body, his legs, everything was just shaking. But I can't find that one. Locked together. He's probably the one that killed his opponent. Then here comes the hyenas that no doubt is going to kill him after they finish the other one. So when I hear the awakened people speak on social matters, they'll say a lot of things that leads me to believe that they might be better off going back to sleep. And one of the things I'll hear is we need to be able to compete. Wanting to compete in the world that they say is on the fast track to hell.